Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Kessler with Kessler Insurance, and I'm here today on behalf of Cheers for Charity New Hampshire, profiling another amazing organization with my dear friend Joanne Burchuck. Hello, Joanne.
Hey, Lisa. I'm Joanne from Lighthouse Physical Therapy. So glad to be here today. And we are featuring another great organization. Today we have Home for All, and Paige is a representative from that organization. She's going to share with us all about it. So please, Paige, introduce yourself and give us a sample of what you guys do.
Well, thank you both very much for the opportunity to be here today. Again, my name is Paige Farmer and I'm Director of Home for All. And we are a coalition of organizations dedicated to ending homelessness in the greater Seacoast region. We were convened in 2009 by United Way of the Greater Seacoast, who continues to be an amazing leader and champion for us. We are comprised of about 35 or 36 partners at this point, a range of service providers, community leaders, municipal folks. We, again, work as a collaboration, so we try to think about the issue of homelessness at a systemic level versus programmatic, and what are the things we can do collectively to ease access, to improve conditions for people who are either homeless or at great risk of homelessness.
That's amazing. And I don't know how you handle that many organizations together, but sounds like an amazing collaboration. What are you currently focused on now as a group?
Sure. One thing I will say about that collection of organizations is really, I have the benefit in this work of being surrounded by the smartest people in the room. Really, the folks that you would want thinking about this issue and strategizing about how to address some of the underlying conditions. We really have the benefit of having some of the best folks in the room. You've met a number of them that have done this program before, so just amazing people. So over the course of the past couple of years, as we have assessed the landscape, one thing that has become abundantly clear, and that is a challenge for all of our organizational partners, is the lack of affordable housing. And so some of the results of that on the shelter system are a much longer stay in shelter. That stay length has risen about 20% over the past 5 years. So from, I can't remember the exact days, but up to about 71 from about 60. And that is primarily driven by the fact that once people enter shelter, finding an affordable place to live, even with a voucher in hand, exiting shelter becomes really challenging. So while Home for All, we absolutely support the development of affordable housing, and we keep our ear to the ground and we support initiatives that we hear are going on, what we thought we might need to do is look to something a little quicker, to look at how we could expand affordability from the existing stock. And so as a coalition, we did a lot of research around the country, looking at communities facing similar issues. And what we determined was that incentivizing landlords and rental property owners, really is a strategy. And that in our research, we found that there were a number of elements that really did appeal to that constituency. And so what we did was package them all up, applied for funding from United Way Mass Bay through their Innovator Venture Fund grant, and we were awarded that in the spring to launch the program. And so the incentives included in the slate, the financial incentives include a first-time sign-on bonus for landlords or rental property owners willing to either accept one of the various voucher programs that tenants might be enrolled in, or to think creatively about affordability and keeping a unit affordable. So there's that sign-on bonus. We also have a security deposit risk mitigation fund. So that guarantees a certain amount of funding above and beyond a security deposit in case there are any damages. And I will pause on that real quick, because what we find in research is oftentimes those funds they're not tapped into, because despite the stigma, people don't burn the house down on the way out the door. But we have that there because landlords like that little bit of extra security. We also have a grant program. We modeled this off of a program in the state of Maine, so that if a unit wants to enroll and accept housing choice vouchers, but their unit doesn't meet code requirements, HUD code requirements, we have a grant program that landlords and property owners can tap into to cover the cost of repairs to bring those units up to code. And then we also have, we call it a rental offset, because sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get ducks in a row, and a tenant might need a couple couple of extra weeks to get everything in order, or a landlord might need a couple of extra weeks. And so we will apply funding for them to be able to hold that unit without losing any revenue to them in rent. And then programmatically, we commit to what we call rent-ready tenants. And so each of the tenants that we place through one of our partner organizations in these units comes with a measure of education around financial management and conflict resolution, and how to be a good tenant, how to communicate with your landlord, those types of things. But the most important programmatic, and maybe overall the most important strategy that we have heard about or heard from our landlord partners is housing stability case management. And so essentially what that means is when a tenant is coming from one of our partner organizations into one of these housing units, they come with a case manager, you know, at their side to help them through the process of applying for the housing, moving into the housing, but then provides ongoing supports for both the tenant and the landlord to assist if anything comes up, anything goes a little bit wonky, to make sure that the tenant is able to access resources if their circumstances change, and to really just promote successful tenancy. And so that whole slate is what we call the Affordable Housing Incentive Program, and AHIP for short.
Now, do people come directly to your organization, or is it a partnership where they're working with somebody else and then you guys help bridge that gap?
Sure. So this is primarily a landlord-driven program. We have a priority on moving folks out of shelter. So the way the process works is that if there's a rental property owner or landlord who's interested in learning more about the program, we have a simple application online that just gives us a little bit of basic information about the unit. We do a follow-up call with them to get a little bit more in depth about what they're looking for, what their comfort level is. You know, do they want a family or a single individual or roommates? Once we have that assessment, our process is to then go out to our shelter partners. So as a pilot, we're prioritizing moving people out of shelter. So we go to our shelter partners first to say, here's this unit, here's what they're looking for. Do you have a tenant that's ready to go on this? If they do, great. We connect them with the landlord directly, and then they move forward. If the shelters don't, we go out to our wider network, which includes community action programs, public housing authorities, a number of different service agencies that may be working with folks who are at great risk of homelessness. And so then we see from that pool, do we have somebody? And then we connect them back with the landlord.
My guess is that when we talk to some of the shelters that it doesn't take very long to fill these places.
Oh, yes, certainly not. You know, again, though, depending on what the landlord is, you know, interested in doing, the Housing Choice Voucher Program is a federal program that has certain requirements and regulations and can take a little bit more time. And so while a unit might be ready and willing, we may not have a tenant with a voucher in hand, because those wait lists can be kind of long, or we might have a landlord that would rather not get involved in the voucher program, and then we have tenants who have vouchers. So there's a lot of the universe lining up to make this happen, as well as the work that we're putting into it. But yeah, there is no shortage of folks who need housing at this point.
Yeah.
That is so much information, Paige. That's unbelievable. Like, I'm soaking it all in. And you know, I think there's going to be people who want to hear more or learn more or read more. What's the best way that they can get more information about Home for All? You know, what is?
Well, certainly our website, it's homeforall-seacoast.org. And we also have a Facebook page at Home for All. So we encourage people to take a look at that. You know, and in terms of getting involved, you know, one of the primary ways that folks can help us out is keeping us in mind when they have friends or coworkers or people in the community that they know who are rental property owners who may be having a vacancy come up, to at least, you know, encourage them to take a look at the program and have a conversation with us. We also invite and welcome stakeholders from all different backgrounds as to be part of the coalition. You know, one of the things about this virtual world is it's made it a little bit easier for some folks who typically couldn't participate in the coalition. So if somebody is interested in learning more or rolling up their sleeves, we welcome them to the table. And then volunteer opportunities either with us, you know, we often have research and data collection, those sorts of things. But also we encourage folks to take a look at our partner list on our website and choose to support one of those organizations as well. So multiple ways.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Paige, for chatting with us today, sharing that information. I think, it's such an important issue in the Seacoast. So I'm just blown away that there's 36 partners that are working together on this program to make a difference for our neighbors and those people in need. So I'm so thankful for your work.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And honestly, the only way to address an issue as broad and challenging as homelessness is together. So we're very fortunate to be in an area where people understand that and are willing to come to the table and get it done. So yeah, very fortunate. Thank you.
That's great. So nice to meet you, and thank you for joining us today.
Nice to meet you both. Thank you so much for having me.